me.
Emerson College Polling, Pix 11, and The Hill have a recent poll all to do with New Jersey. So I want to talk first about the governor's race. The primary is just a few weeks away. What are some of your takeaways on where the race stands as of now?
Yeah, I think that, on both sides of this race, both primaries, we've got a front runner for each party, and it's going to be really tough for some of these race candidates. On the Democratic side, we have Cheryl at 28%. Almost everyone else is under 15. Fulop, Baraka, Gottheimer all at 11, Spiller at 10. And then 24% undecided. So there is still some room there for one of these candidates to pick up some support, but it's a crowded second place right now. That's going to be really, really tough when Cheryl has such a lead over these candidates. You look at the Republican side, and it's even a little bit more decisive. We have Chitterelli at 44%, Spady at 18%, and then all others are under 10% with 23% undecided. So the Republican side especially, that seems to be almost a foregone conclusion at this point.
So when you're looking at Cheryl, when you're looking at Chitterelli, do you think it's their race to lose come the primary on June 10th?
I think so. On the Democratic side, without one of these candidates dropping out and endorsing their second place candidates, I see Cheryl running away with this. It's just going to be tough otherwise when you have these candidates bunched up together, hovering right around 10%. She's also winning with older voters. That's going to be really important in the New Jersey primaries, where typically the electorate leans older. It's an off-election year. That's sort of what we expect. But she's also doing well with younger voters. She's winning them currently. So again, I think without one of these candidates dropping, endorsing another, it is very much Cheryl's to lose at this point. On the Republican side, as you said, Chitterelli is at 44%. He has a massive lead over Spadia and any of the other candidates with 23% undecided. Even if another candidate, those undecided voters, they still wouldn't catch up to Chitterelli. So I think the Republican side, again, bit of a foregone conclusion. It looks like Chitterelli is going to run away with this.
And when you're looking at the Democrat field, you're saying it's a crowded second place and undecided because you took this poll in January. From January to May in the Democratic primary fell from 56% to 24%. As we sit here now, just a few weeks away from this primary, is that a lot of people who are undecided in the Democratic primary? Is that a typical number? What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think that's a fairly typical number. We've seen some folks start to clearly pay attention to the race. I'm sure that they've seen the ads on TV, radio, digital. That's all had an effect, and they've seen press coverage of it as well. We do see that, again, Cheryl is winning older voters. They are very important, but she's winning younger voters as well, and they tend to be the most undecided. So if these other candidates, those undecided numbers are very much spread across. There's no real trend there as far as who they could pick out support from. So, if you're targeting certain voters, that's going to be really tough when you just have so few undecided voters and they're so spread out across the spectrum. So, it's a fairly typical number right now, I think, but it's going to be really tough to win some of those undecided voters over, especially when Cheryl just seems to have such higher name recognition than some of these other candidates.
I do now want to talk about one of the candidates in that crowded field in the Democratic primary who's vying for second place, and that's Newark Mayor Ross Baraka. He made news earlier this month. He was arrested for trespassing while visiting an ICE detention facility in Newark. The charges were later dropped, and the judge blasted prosecutors over this case. They called it a hasty arrest and a worrisome misstep. How do New Jerseyans feel? Do they feel similarly to the judge? Do they think it was a stunt? What did they make of the moment?
Yeah, so interestingly, about 44% support the arrest of Baraka, 38% oppose. As you might expect, that does fall along sort of partisan lines, but Interestingly, about 20% of Democrats actually support the arrest of Baraka. In this case, see about half of independents support it as well. I don't think that Baraka has necessarily won a lot of public support from this whole ordeal. We took this poll right after his arrest, and so I think the details are probably still trickling their way into the electorate. So this number could change if we took the poll today. But as it stands, it looks like most folks agree with the arrest. And we certainly haven't yet seen any sort of boost for Baraka in the polls as a result.